guys, welcome to SteveJones313. Now, you're probably wondering, Stephen, you're being abnormally quiet. There's a good reason for that. No, I'm not making an ASMR video. It's because it's actually 3:40 in the morning. If you look outside, you'll see that it's pitch black. And just for funsies, if you actually look on the wall there, hey, it's a poster of me and Geek. Hey. So I've had someone ask me what the two pictures I've got on the back wall. But anyway, being that it's 20 to 4 in the morning, I don't want to wake people up. So I'm going to answer these questions as best I can. If you've never seen the show before, what happens is I have a 20-minute timer, and once I've finished asking a question, I start the timer. Once I've finished answering the question, I pause the timer, and I have 20 minutes in total for answering questions. Whatever question I'm on when the 20 minutes is up, it's the last question I answer. Right. Now again, these questions are ones that I've either been asked in the past or been sent to me by you guys. I don't have any preparation time. I don't prepare answers. The closest I ever get to having a prepared answer is if I have to reshoot an answer because of technical issues or whatever. So anyway, let's get started. Question 1. What would make the perfect night in, i.e. food, drinks, friends? Money's no limit. In fact, there is just no limits. Okay, start the timer. Right, okay. For me, the perfect night in, the perfect night in would be, we start off with having friends over and my lass. You know, we're all just having a few, you know, modest drinks, some decent food, singing songs, playing games, that kind of thing. And then towards the end of the night, the friends go home. It's just me and my fiance, you know, and use your imagination, kids. Okay, so that's 19 minutes and 29 seconds left on the clock. Question number 22. Are you a virgin? No. 19 minutes and 28 seconds left on the clock. What would you do if everyone and everything had a clown nose except you? Well, I don't know if I would just be very confused or scared. Basically, sorry, I'm watching a live stream at the same time. But yeah, basically, I would probably like just really concerned. Like, why is everyone wearing nose? Why am I not wearing one? You know what is, you know, being paranoid. I would probably start thinking it's some kind of, sorry, my allergies. I would probably start thinking it's some kind of government conspiracy or something. I'm more inclined to think that it's, in fact, I know my brain. If everyone started wearing it except me, I would swear Devon Brown was up to it. It was Devon Brown that did it, and that was on one of his shows. That'll be exactly what I think. So there you go. 18 minutes and 20 seconds left on the clock. Right. Next question. If you were allowed to change the colour of your skin to any colour in the world, what would it be and why? This is a difficult question because let's say that everyone has this ability, okay? We can all change the colour of our skin. Then, I know, maybe, somewhat silverish, just because it's a nice colour. It's a nice colour, and out of all the other colours you could have for skin, it just seems an interesting one to me. If I didn't have to change, I wouldn't. But in a world where everyone gets to, yeah, absolutely. In a world where it's just me, I wouldn't change my skin colour because, you know, it's just going to cause major problems down the road. What I think would be interesting is if every white person on the planet had to change their skin colour to anything but white. if every single person on this planet that was white had to change their skin colour, what would they pick? And they could pick individual ones. That would be interesting. We'd see how quickly we continue being racist fucks. You know, when we can't be white anymore, we lose our, you know, supreme superpower of being white. Would you prefer to be king of the bunnies or a bunny knight? King of the bunnies. Because, you know, you're in charge. The bunnies do what you tell you. And plus, yeah, I mean, just, it'd be cool. I could have like a kingdom of bunnies. And, okay, yeah, it's not going to be like, you know, I mean, it wouldn't be too difficult as well. Just, you have a kingdom of bunnies. Ooh. Think of the possibilities. I could actually have people move into the kingdom as well, and they'd be like, okay, if you move in the kingdom, you have to look after some bunnies. You have to, like, it's part of your tax. You have to, you know, look after the bunnies. And then think of like the beautiful landscape there'd be. And of course, we'd have to lose some things. Like, we couldn't have chocolate bunnies anymore because that would get the bunnies scared. We'd have to have something else, like ooh, oh, I know what we'll do. Instead of chocolate bunnies, we'll have like chocolate foxes. Yeah. Like chocolate wolves, chocolate, you know, big fuck off dogs, you know, just other chocolate things. So if a bunny sees it, ooh, oh, thank God, it's eating the thing that would normally eat the fuck out of us. That's fine, you go right ahead. Make the bunnies feel a bit more secure about themselves. And so I keep getting texts, so I'm going to move the phone away from the camera. Why do I get texts at 10 to 4 in the morning? If you know anything about me, people always text me. But yeah, I can have my own kingdom, I have a bunny crown, and I'm king of the bunnies. And I challenge any artist out there to draw that. Which is weird, because you'd think I'd be the king of ducks. Okay, so 15 minutes left on the clock. Next question, slightly crazy or full-on insane? Right, slightly crazy, for one reason. The idea of insanity scares the ever-living piss out of me. It really does. I would go far as to say that you could... I used to say I had dementia phobia, but I think that was more because I discovered the term. You know how it is, you find a term that kind of explains something you have and then you adopt it. You know how it's like some people say they're an insomniac just because they have trouble sleeping rather than no, they physically can't sleep. You know, that kind of thing. I think this is just that it scares the ever-living piss out of me. But I'm not sure if I would call it a phobia. I'm not sure about that one. I'm sure there's ways of testing it, but I don't want to be tested. I don't want to have to go through that and find out. So slightly crazy. I'd be more comfortable slightly crazy, whether it's me or somebody else. That's 13 minutes 48 seconds after the clock. Next question. How do you feel about the question above this one? I feel it was a badly asked question, frankly, because it had no context. I mean, in what context could it be slightly crazy for what? Me? People? Bunnies? Well, if I'm going to run a king, I don't want to rule over a kingdom of insane bunnies. Slightly crazy? I could probably put up with slightly crazy bunnies, but insane bunnies? I mean, it'd be madness. It just wouldn't work. They would be, you know, twitching their carrots and eating their noses. It just wouldn't make sense. Wouldn't make sense at all. Bad person. Badly asked question. 13 minutes and 8 seconds on the clock. And here we go. Jack Daniels, sir? No thank you. I don't really drink whiskey anymore. I still like whiskey, but I'm more of a wine person. If you have a bottle of Cabernet Sauvignon kicking around, all the better. 12:55 on the clock, next question. If you could make one sound for the rest of your life to communicate and everyone and everything could understand what you were saying just by you making that one sound, what would it be? Now, I'm not going to do the timer for this one, because I'm going to answer this with a video clip from an old episode. Take it away, past Stephen. It's an oldie but a goldie. Next question. What is your biggest ambition in life? Right. Biggest ambition in life. To be honest with you, all I've ever wanted out of life was to be a good man, a good husband, and a good father. To be able to provide enough for my family to live on, with a little bit to enjoy life. That is it. I don't need to be a billionaire, don't need to be a millionaire. Just enough to get by and to enjoy life as best we can. It's really all I ask for in life. That's all I really need. If shooting for the stars, I'd like to be I mean, like, a dream job would be to be like a creative writer for the WWE or a wrestling company that I could get paid a decent amount for, or to run my own business online, like to be running in there's a website that I want to run. There's like a bunch of stuff I want to do, like I've got so many plans, and there's also a charity I want to set up called the Zodiac Network, which would be like, I'd want to work in conjunction with the likes of like Samaritans and stuff, and it would be a case of reaching out to people who are suicidal, you know, reaching out to people that need help. You'd set up a network where if somebody notices someone in trouble, or they suspect that they're likely to kill themselves or something, they could contact the Zodiac Network. And we would be able to send out people who are close to the area to intervene and get that person to safety and to get them into counselling and just try to help them in their situation as best we can. Now that would be something that's going to take millions to really set up to the way I want it to do. I've been planning it for years, but there's so much work that has to be done to get it done. So yeah, there is a lot that has to be done in order to even get there. So yeah, hopefully that's something we can do down the road. Stop the timer there. Now, some people might, by the way, if you notice my voice is a lot lower, I'll explain that I've explained that in another video. I'll get round to that. But anyway, next question. With 10 minutes and 14 seconds left on the clock. How does it feel to have actually published a book? Mixed feelings, actually. I don't know where my book is at the moment, but I'll put up a picture in the top corner there. It's a book called Permit Me to Dream. It's a poetry book. I'm very, very proud that I published a book in the first place. I'm not happy with its presentation, but I'm very happy that I was able to get a book published. It was a huge, huge deal for me, and I'm so happy that I am working on future ones, but I want to be better presented. So, yeah, hopefully in time I can get a new book out, get some artists to create the cover for me, and we'll go from there. Pause the timer. 9 minutes and 13 seconds left. Next question. Pro-life or pro-choice, and why? I have always been pro-choice, even when I was Roman Catholic, even as evangelical, and now as an apatheist, I am pro-choice. Women bear the full weight of responsibility when it comes to carrying a child. Men deposit their genetic makeup, and then women are the ones that have to endure it all. Now, I don't care of what the situation is. It doesn't matter if it's a woman who has become pregnant through means that they didn't mean to become pregnant, such as the contraceptive failed, they were abused, whatever, and it doesn't matter if the woman is using abortion as a birth control because they just like fucking around without protection. It doesn't matter what kind of person they are, it doesn't matter the circumstances in which they became pregnant. As far as I'm concerned, they should be allowed to do it. You can try to argue that, well, if a woman, if it was a woman that's just wanting to use it because she doesn't like having safe sex, then they should be allowed. You don't get that saying. It's a woman's body. Alright? So they should have the absolute right to do with their bodies what they will in that regard. And I know the arguments of sanctity of life and everything, but look. Here's the thing. If you're going to say that women can't have abortions because of sanctity of life, fine. Ban masturbation around the world. And I beg you to fucking try. Because you'll never do it. But Stephen, what do you mean? You mean what? Or the millions and billions of potential life that men are carrying around? We're okay to kill that. Oh, but Stephen, no, there's a big difference because the fetus is an actual person. Ah, well. Look. Up until a certain point, in my point of view, it's more or less a tumour, or a parasite, but look. At the end of the day, if I was feeling that fucking ill, and I went to a hospital, and they said, look, here's the problem, you've got another person growing inside you, my first response is, get that piece of fucking shit out of me. And by the way, I know men can be tired of hearing it, but it is an excellent point. If men could have kids as well, abortion clinics would be set up like fucking Starbucks. It's just the truth. The fact that there are still laws in some countries prohibiting women from having abortions, and that the fact that the debate is still even going on, isn't a moral argument. It's a political one. It is about keeping women in check and making sure that men have the power, because men right now are the ones that get the say in it. And yes, we have female politicians now, but let's face it, it's still male president, male prime minister, you know, it's still a male-dominated, you know, kind of situation here. The whole abortion argument is about keeping women in check, and at the moment, in most places allow abortion, like in the UK obviously, and in America, although in America I think there are some states that still have a law against it, or have recently signed a law. It's not a case of, well, no, I mean, I say in England, I think it's an equalist argument. In America, it seems to come across more like, see women, we're allowing you to have abortions because we're nice. So you stop arguing, we will give you abortion. It seems more like keeping the little woman in check, which isn't right. What it needs to be is that it needs to come from governments to say, look, it's women's body, let women decide. That's how it works. End of. Which, by the way, I still think it would be pretty cool if there was a female president of the United States of America. And just to finish up on this point, when it comes to the whole equality thing, I've never called myself a feminist, mainly for one reason: I don't understand the term. It has been abused so many times that it's hard to tell where you stand. And of course, there's Marxist feminists, extreme feminists, equal feminists. Here's my stance, alright? Now, if this fits into the definition of feminism, great, I have no problem with that. Rather than try to give you a term, which, by the way, I do normally refer to myself as an equalist, here's my stance. Men and women are the same, we need to start fucking acting like it. And equality isn't giving everybody the same thing, it's giving everyone the same access. It's about allowing people to get the same things. Now, sometimes that means we need more laws for the people, such as the disabled. they need more laws to help them get to an equal plinth. Sorry, that is my phone going off. I will deal. I will explain this in a different video. Before I lose my temper with that, allow me to finish this point. Yes, you need more laws for certain people to get them to an equal plinth. Think about it as three people trying to watch a show behind a fence. A really tall guy, a medium-sized guy, and a short guy. The tall guy can see just fine. He doesn't need any extra help. The medium-sized guy needs a small box so he can see the show. The really short guy needs a bigger box so they can all see. Equality isn't giving them all the same size box. It's giving them what they need to get to the equal level. So give the short guy a really big box, give the medium-sized guy a small box, and you don't need to give the tall guy anything. He's fine. That's equality. So when... I don't believe that there should be any physical discrimination for it. The colour of your skin doesn't matter. The gender that you identify yourself doesn't matter. Your sexual preference doesn't matter. Because, you know what, I'm fucking sick. I mean, I'm a straight white guy. Okay, fair. My only kind of discriminating fact is the fact that I'm working class. You know, because I'm working class and I don't make that much money in life. That is the only negative I've got going against me. Well, that and I'm fat, but that's my own fault. The fact is, I'm a white straight guy. So I don't have to worry about all of this shit. You know? But I am so sick and tired when people do things like put anything which isn't straight in the same category as pedophilia. That pisses me off. It's like, oh well, he'll sleep with men, he's bound to sleep with children. Yeah, you're a Roman Catholic Church? Good call. Good call on that one, comparing the two. By the way, how are your scandals doing? And please give Ratzinger my fucking regards. People need to stop worrying about fucking who it's like, oh my god, like that guy wants to sleep with that other guy. No, say it ain't so. It's like, ooh, that woman likes to sleep with other women. Which, by the way, is an interesting concept. That guy wants to sleep with that guy. Oh, that is so disgusting. That woman wants to sleep with that woman. Get me the camcorder and the popcorn. And here's another group which gets fucking shit on. And by the way, 20 minutes is now up. So this is going to be my last question, so I might as well rant a bit. Another group that get picked on a lot. Asexuals. Asexuals. Look, I would give you a full definition. What I'll do is I'll actually bring up the full definition for you, right? Just because I want to represent you guys in this video as best as I can. So I apologize if I fuck up. It's not out of hate, it's purely out of not being, you know, being a white straight guy, right? Help me out here. But looking Wikipedia, which I know is a great source of information, but asexuality is the lack of sexual attraction to anyone or low or absent interest in sexual activity. It may be considered to be the lack of sexual orientation or one of the four variations thereof alongside heterosexuality, homosexuality, and bisexuality. Out of personal interest, a study in 2004 placed the prevalence of asexuality at 1% in the British population. Right. It is not celibacy or abstinence, okay? It is not a choice. Put it this way. Asexuality is basically when there is no kind of desire for it. They don't think sexually. They're not thinking, I really would like to sleep with that person, that person. Now that doesn't mean they can't have sex at all, or they can't have a romantic involvement. completely not the point. Asexuals can and do have sex sometimes, you know, depending on who the person is, whatever, and they do have romantic relationships, but they don't have that underlying sexual attraction the same way that straight, bisexual, and gay people have. It's in people. People say such the dumbest shit about it. You know, there are people who say, "Oh, it's just because you haven't found the right person yet." Oh, you just confused. It's like, just haven't found the right person yet. You condescending piece of fuck. Maybe it's because they're asexual and they don't have that about them. It's not something they're interested in, so they don't have it. It's not a difficult fucking concept. Their basic default is, nothing wrong with that. But people are so fucking befuddled by it. They can't imagine a human being that just doesn't have a desire for it. They're not crazy cat ladies. And by the way, there are asexual men as well. Now, and this isn't me about to campaign about how men are just as discriminated against as women. Look, here's my basic point of the discrimination of men versus women. Men have an issue too. The biggest problem that men face, in my personal opinion, I've got no statistics to back it up, but this is me just spewing my opinion now. Feel free to correct me. I think the biggest problem men face when it comes to discrimination is one of... I think the biggest problem we have is because, and to be fair, this is really men's fault. We've made this a problem. Is men who are effeminate being discriminated against. Which is still a feminist issue, I feel. Because think about it. Men who don't act like men. You know, men who are more... You know, men who are... You know, more genteel. And less burly and less... men who are more... Men who are far more effeminate and far more genteel and far more... And even those who are camp. We can even go as far as say that, not necessarily gay camp. And of course gay men. They face discrimination from other men, usually, for being girly. And for being such a woman. Or, to use a term that I fucking hate, and this will offend some people, but it offends me too, to an extent. Being called fucking pussies, you know? Yeah. But I mean, sorry, it's just a horrible word. I hate that word. But, you know, men, and some women do. You know, there are some women who kind of discriminate against it as well, but let's face it, it's a majorly a men issue. The fact that some women do it as well is wrong, but I'm not going to ignore, like, I'm not going to pretend that they're the main bullies in this one. So let's just get out that way. But men, I think that's men's biggest kind of, that's the biggest thing we deal with in terms of discrimination, is the fact that, but it's men doing it to other men. You know, it's the whole, you're not a real man kind of thing, and getting beaten up and abused by the parents because they're, you know, not being a real man. I think that's the biggest problem that men face in terms of discrimination. But that is an invention that has been created by men. We have determined what the male image is and how a man should act. We've made a rod for our own backs. Now that's not to say that if a man is suffering from that kind of discrimination, that they, or abuse, that they should just put up with it because we create the problem. What I mean is, when I say it's a man-made problem, is the fact that we, you know, there is such a thing as male discrimination, but it really comes from that male-dominated society that we've created. It's not feminism doing it. I have come across a few occasions where I've seen women treating men badly. I have seen situations where women have been physically and mentally abusive to their male partners. I've stepped in and taken the person out of it. I have called the police on a woman before for beating up her partner, who was completely innocent, by the way. She was just an evil piece of fucking shit. But that doesn't make the entirety of the feminist argument Wrong. There are two things which have to happen. One, men, as a majority, and we're talking about an overwhelming majority, have to accept that we have a problem that needs fixing, and we need to fix it. Two, women need to accept, as a majority, women need to accept that there is a massive difference between equality and revenge. The reason I say this is because one argument that I keep coming up against when it comes to a male abusing a woman to a woman abusing a male, I've seen this many times, is in fact I did a study on this, and others have done a study on this, back at when I was doing sociology and psychology. In the study I did with 100 different women, I believe the figure was 67% of the women in that group felt that if a woman were to rape a man, that it wouldn't be as big a problem than if a man were to rape a woman. That was bizarre, and I would be happy to do that study again, because I think, I would hope that in the past 10 years, people's opinions have changed. But there was a case study as well. I mean, this man had been, basically this woman had lured this guy back to her home. He was trying to leave. He didn't, and I'll bring up the story if I can, but it was from so many years ago, it's about 10 years ago now. He was trying to leave. She drugged him, chained him down to a bed, force-fed him other cocktails, probably Viagra, and then raped him. My entire psychology class laughed, except for 3 people. Me, another guy, and another woman. They laughed. Imagine, which I imagine some of you might not find difficult to imagine. Imagine if I had said that a woman had been tied down and all that and drugged and then raped by a man. No one would laugh in that room. Apart from really sick individuals. No one would laugh. My psychology class certainly wouldn't have laughed. That is a problem. That is a big problem. When the topic of rape is either funny or serious depending on the genders involved. This is the only problem I have with people who claim they're feminist, and that this is the reason why, and this is where a lot of guys get mixed up. So I'm inviting feminists to give their point as a comment on this video. Okay? I'm not here to start an argument, I'm here for definition. But I believe that true feminism is the idea that men and women are equal and should be treated as such and should be afforded the same rights or at least the same access to opportunities and legal consequences as each other. That men and women should be gentle, compassionate, and fair to one another. That there should be no legal or moral difference between raping a man or raping a woman, from discriminating against a woman to discriminating a man. There should be no legal or moral difference. They should be the same. But recognizes that in the current climate that we have, economically, socio-politically, and morally, that there is a perceived and acted upon difference in worth and equality between the two classes, produced by a male-dominated global society. If any of that is wrong, correct me. I am not here to argue with feminists, I'm here to get the definition from feminists. Because at the end of the day, I believe that we are equal and we should start acting like it. So, my stance on it all is that the only thing that should be the discriminating factor in the rights we give someone is whether they're alive or dead, if they're a criminal or they're innocent. That is the discerning difference. Are they guilty of a crime that we can prove they committed? You lock them up. If they're not, you let them free. If they're dead, they don't get to vote. If they're alive, they get to vote. Provided they're a certain age. Okay, we'll say age as well. A 3-year-old is not going to be great at giving a vote, but a 17-year-old might have some good ideas. So to bring it back to the last question there, pro-choice or pro-life, and why? Pro-choice. It's a woman's business. Stay the fuck out of it. Thanks for watching SteveJones313. If you have a question for the show, leave it as a comment to this video, or you can email me at SteveJones313@gmail.com, or you can send a question anonymously to SteveJones313.tumblr.com/ask. And of course, finally, you can visit the DeviantArt page dedicated to this show. Well, that's all for me this week. Thank you very much for watching. Although there might be an extra episode getting posted later on this week, because this is technically the last week's episode. So, yeah. But that's all for me this week. Thanks for watching. Until next time.